You're watching Leafs Morning Take with host Nick Alberga and former NHLer Jay Rosehill. The show starts now.
Presented by Bet365. This is your unofficial Game 4 preview show leading up to Game 4 between the Maple Leafs and the Boston Bruins. Nick Alberga. And look who it is, my main man, Phil. How are you, buddy, Zach?
I'm not bad. Ready to go. Game 4 here. I think we'll get into it throughout the show, but must win for me. Must win for me here tonight.
Producer Vick Polatian, my man, how you feeling?
Good. I'm confident tonight. Confident.
It's like a humble confidence, or you're like really feeling confident?
No, I mean you don't come on. You don't come out like looking like this if you're not confident.
Can you explain? So we went to the soft launch of Greta Bar on Thursday night, and Vic out of nowhere just showed up with the Austin Matthews Poppy Muzzy going. I've seen this on you before, but can you explain why you decided to go that route?
I didn't want to grow the playoff beard. Everybody's doing playoff beards, so I did playoff Muzzy, and I work with the golden Muzzy. So I was telling everybody I'm the silver Muzzy when we went to Greta Bar.
Now, there's only one Muzzy, and I always explain the story why that transpired. It's sort of funny, like thinking back of it. It was like new media class in like 2011, around that era, and it was Movember. I used to hack a ton of darts, boys, so like the Muzzy got a bit golden. And next thing you know, I'm like, it's like our teacher instructed us, get Twitter. I said, okay, let's go with the golden Muzzy. It was a placeholder. It was a placeholder that has turned into a thing 12 years later. But folks, we are proud to be with you at the Leafs Nation 401. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Moments away, he doesn't know this. He's going to hit some smelling salts. Zack Phillips is going to do that to start us off here on the show. This is a must win. We love cliches on this podcast. You guys know that. But firstly, I want to tee up the Leafs Nation After Dark with Zack Phillips, who you see on your screen right now, coming up directly following the conclusion of Game 4 with special guest, some stiff named Jay Rosehill is going to drop by. So, yeah, Rosie's going to hop on, and that's going to be something special, isn't it, Zach?
It should be, and let's hope it's extra special. Get a win there, and then get as many likes in the chat as possible while we're live so that we can pump that up. And maybe, I think, Nick, we said it was like 6 or 7 smelling salts we had done. Why not 10, 20? Like, let's get those numbers up. But yeah, it should be good. We'll see. We'll see when Rosie comes on, how he's feeling about this game. Hopefully goes in our direction, but I'm excited. I'm excited for the post game. Always excited for the post games.
Our guy in the chat, Johnny Lazarus, the host of Morning Cup of Hockey, is asking me what your fiance, Vic, feels about the Golden Muzzy. We know the answer to that. I don't think Johnny knows the story, but me and Vic go way back. And I was actually present when you met your fiance. So congratulations, Vic.
Yes, you were right around Greta Bar YYZ, right? It was
exactly.
Area.
We don't know the name of any other bar on King Street West. Greta Bar YYZ. Go check that out. They're
right there. My fiance hates it, but she's gonna have to deal with it, especially if they go on a run. Because if they go on a run, this thing's gonna stay for sure.
It stays. We should also mention we're giving away tickets to Game 5, right? I think that's a vast importance. And first and foremost, shout out to one of our day one listeners, viewers, Mr. P-Mail Bacon. In the chat, he has graciously donated 2 tickets to Game 5 in Boston on Tuesday night. So just to be clear, there's no travel package involved here. That's not like Vic's going to show up in a Corvette and drive you to Boston. That ain't going to happen. I'm sorry. Just 2 tickets to the game. Ideally, we're looking for 2 Leafs fans close to Boston. Doesn't have to be the case. Leafs fans travel well. And for those of you trying to message me to get hey, get me on the short list to win this contest, it ain't happening. Okay. We're going to make this clear for everybody involved. Everybody's got the opportunity of a lifetime to go check out a game in Boston wearing your Maple Leafs uniform. So to be eligible to participate in the contest, which will announce the winner, by the way, coming up on Monday's edition of Leafs Morning Take, you got to be subscribed to our YouTube page. You're watching right now at the Leafs Nation 401. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. So that's the number one thing. Number 2, you got to be following us on Instagram at TLNDC, on Instagram. So make sure you're followed there. And additionally, you need to provide an answer to this question and then send the answer. What's the email again, Vic? Sorry to put you on the spot. lmt@thenationnetwork.com, I think is the email.
That is correct.
Okay, so email that, lmt@thenationnetwork.com. Who has the most playoff hits in Leafs franchise history? Again, be mindful. They've only been tracking this stat since 1997. And again, at random, we'll pick a winner and announce it on Monday's show, Zach.
I was under the impression that Vic was driving the winner to the game, so that's disappointing. But I've been telling everyone, don't worry, travel's covered. Yeah, you can enter the contest. Producer Vic will get you there, but you're gonna have to send some messages now. So unless Vic, you want to step up, but yeah. Game 5 in Boston. I will say this: my sister, she's dating a guy from Boston. She got to go to Leafs Bruins games there. They don't care how old you are. They don't care. Male, female, does not matter. They will absolutely abuse you if you are a Leafs fan. And I love that. I think that Leafs fans will love that too. I know she had a great time with it. So yeah, you get in that building. Give the Leafs some energy because they're not getting it here.
No, they're not. They're not. Definitely not. It's going to be a story conversation over the next 25 minutes. Willie Nylander, by the way, on the ice for the pregame. So we've been projecting all day this guy's going to play. He's definitely going to play. I felt that yesterday when you roll him out in front of the media. You know he's playing. Again, at the Leafs Nation 401, we should promote the playoff tee as well. We're loving it. We're bleeding blue. The playoffs are here. Zach's wearing his. Vic's lost in the mail, I think, his T-shirt. But he's wearing the varsity collection, which we love to see. We are ready to bleed blue. Nation Gear is ready to gear you up for Toronto's playoff run. Rep your favorite team as a battle for the cup. Shop the exclusive bleed blue playoff tee and more at nationgear.ca, at nationgear.ca once again. So Jay Rosehill on the Leafs Nation After Dark. Let's roll into things here. And we'll start with producer Vic. What's your expectation for Willie Nylander tonight returning after missing 3 games to start the series?
Honestly, I'm expecting to jump right in like he never missed a second. Like you heard what was it, post-practice yesterday?
Yeah.
He said the biggest challenge was absolutely nothing. I love the confidence. It's I think he's the perfect fit for this team. I think they missed him a lot, especially on the power play, and I don't expect him to miss a beat. He was skating really strong in practice.
Yeah, I'm with Vic on this as well. I mean, I know it's hard for guys, especially to jump into the intensity, but this isn't a couple months off like we saw him in that contract year where it comes back and it's hard to do. This is a week. You miss 7 days, and of anybody on this Leafs team, Willie kind of just doesn't give a shit about like the pressure or what people say. Doesn't give a damn about what people say. Or the pressure that's going on or the environment that he's in. He's just going to play like William Nylander. So I think he's just going to jump in here without missing a beat. I think he's going to be rocking. He's going to be ready to go. And I feel like he's going to be kind of, annoyed that he missed the first couple of games and had to sit and watch from home, I guess, at that point and just kind of look on nervously. So I think he's going to come in here and make an impact right away.
Well, firstly, pardon Zach's French. Yes, I think you're bang on with that assessment. Bottom line, 11.5 sheets a year, concussion or no concussion, migraine or no concussion, or migraines or whatever we reported here on the podcast before anybody else. It's more so about the power play. It's about scoring goals. We're going to talk about the fourth line. I think it's a really, really fascinating decision that you're going to deviate from that fourth line. Pound for pound has been the best line in this series, and you're going to stick with everyone's boy, Nick Robertson, the hired gun who has yet to score in this series. So hit that anytime goal tonight. If he doesn't score tonight, I don't know what to tell you. Again, there's a massive civil war in this market when it comes to Nick Robertson. It's like put up or shut up time times 18 for this guy. But nevertheless, they're deviating from that. I think with Nylander, I just think it lengthens the lineup. Like whether you want to put him on the third line, Zach, or the second line or the first line, he's got the potent shot. He's got the speed. But it's the power play. Like, I don't know if you feel the same way, Zach, but the big story for me in this series clearly is that Boston's power play is outscoring Toronto 5-1. There's your difference. That's why they're up 2-1 in the series.
Well, we talked about it in the postgame show. Like, I had a hard time being mad about game 3 to an extent because it's like, okay, 5-on-5. I don't think they were that far off. I think you had a bad goal on Samsonov, the Frederick goal early on. And then outside of that, I'm not really frustrated with effort. I'm not frustrated with chance generation. But you go 0 for 5 on the power play. Like, that's unacceptable, man. You can't have that when you got Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Riley, those guys out there skating around on it. You're going to throw, it's just like another weapon that you get to add back in there. But Willie's being a really good power play guy. I think he's going to be really effective. And it's like, you know what? If you're going to have anything where you could say, hey, what change can we make to get this thing going? Maybe inserting a soon-to-be $11.5 million player back into the power play could be that thing to go 1 for 5 instead of 0 for 5. You throw one more goal on there, that game might look a lot different. 1 for 5. I think that it's just like, hey, this is just a free chance to make a change, and hopefully something starts to trend in the right direction for this power play, a little bit more lethal. I don't know, but that's the biggest spot I'm looking at for Nylander right now.
Yeah, and I just think his shot, just having another shot on that power play. Nobody's worried about Mitch Marner from the half wall there, especially when he's skating backwards and letting it rip, right? Like just giving Austin some freedom on the other side. I think that's the biggest part. The biggest thing that he brings is just another look, another guy. Riley can't fire it. Bertuzzi sure as hell can't fire it. Tavares is standing in front, and Mitch can't shoot. So it's I think that shot is what they're missing the most.
Look, any way you want to fucking slice it. Oops, excuse me. But I've had this conversation in this market for like 8 years. Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, Willie Nylander, John Tavares. You want your money? Okay. Kyle Dubas is going to give you every penny. Take it, man. I would do the same fucking thing with that guy. And again, I'm still getting DMs and messages about Zach Hyman. I'm tired of that shit, man. That's why Kyle Dubas is no longer the GM of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Foolish decisions like that. I digress. You want to make that money? Guys, it's pretty simple. Go out there and do your job. I swear. Mitch Marner, go have the game of your life. Austin Matthews, well, I really can't rag on the guy. The guy's a stud. He's had an impeccable season. I think he's been good in this series. But I want to like not single one person out. So we're going to do like them as a whole, right? Which they didn't want to start this season. But Zach, it's simple to me. Like, you guys are the most important players on the team, whether they want to admit it or not. It's put up or shut up time. Like, that is my theme of the rest of this series. If not, I don't know if you guys saw my Twitter today. I started a 7-alarm fire because of my question about dealing Mitch Marner with an extension for Ilya Sorokin. And people are like, oh, you had to do this on game day. It's an inevitable conversation, Zach, we're going to have, whether it's in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You know what's coming. I'm just getting the party started a bit early. But do you agree with that assessment, Zach?
Yeah, I do. Also, I saw the tweet and I said, you know what? I'm just going to hold on to this one. And I'll check back every hour or so and see where people are at. Yeah, I just want to see where people are at. That was fun to follow today. As far as these guys go, like, I used to get so annoyed when people would be like, oh, the bottom six of this team is not good enough. The defensive depth, it's not good enough. And then you're looking, being like, oh, we need to add these scores. And, you know, we dealt with it in the off season where some of the spreadsheet boys kept telling us, you know, you can't build a bottom six like this because these guys can't score. You know, Ryan Reeves doesn't score. It's like, well, you know what? They bring a little bit something different that maybe this team didn't have in the playoffs that can be that kind of impact. And then now here we are through, what is this? The first 3 games we're at, you scored less than, you haven't scored more than 3 goals is essentially what I'm trying to get to in any of these games at this point. And it's like the Leafs are among one of the longest active streaks in the NHL for playoff games where you're not able to score more than 3 goals. Like, it's just a constant struggle that they're dealing with at this point. And you could keep looking at the bottom 6, but ultimately, if you take a look down the stat sheet at number 91, 34, 16, I don't want to throw Nylander in there too much because I have been a fan of him in the playoffs, but like, he's still a part of it. Those guys just aren't doing enough. You got to show up at some point and take over games. Like Matthews game 2, that's dominant, but let's maybe sustain that for a series. You don't have to win every single game yourself. Like, you're not doing this, putting it on your shoulders, but maybe you're just a guy who's going out there every single shift and making something happen. And right now, Matthews playing pretty well. First line plays pretty well. Second line disappears. It's just like, it's like Vic's beard showing up to Greta Bar, gone now. And now it's just all riding on the Muzzy.
Yeah, it feels that way too. And certainly, you know, even watching Edmonton, there really hasn't been that perception that McDavid and Draisaitl can't do it in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Year after year, it's the same combo. It's defense, it's goaltending with that team. GS is sort of barking at us in the chat. He's like, get to the lineup, so we're going to do that. This is how they're skating right now in the warm-ups. Bertuzzi, Matthews, Domi, Nice, Tavares, Marner, Willie Nylander with Holmberg and Yarncroke. That's going to last about 16 seconds. And Robertson, Camp, and Reeves, that's going to last about 4 shifts. On the back end, Benoit, McCabe, Riley Labushkin, Edmondson, Brody. Zach, I don't know how you feel. TJ Brody, he's a liability. This screams desperation. It really does, but they don't really have the guns. Let's not forget at the trade deadline, I thought was the right decision. I still feel that way. They didn't go like all in, They made some pretty decent ads. Love the Edmonton ad, but I think it's quite clear they're lacking the depth in the back end. So TJ Brody better have the game of his life tonight.
Yeah, I look at these guys. I'm like, Liljegren has not been playing that well. It is what it is. You got to call it for that. What are your options? Mark Giordano, Connor Timmins, TJ Brody. Like,
Cade Weber.
It's not your right. Cade Weber, who's skating with the team, never played an NHL game. You're like, okay, what are we gonna do with this? I don't have a problem with Liljegren coming out here, really, but I will say, and Nick, I'll put it back to you on this one. Like, the thing that's terrifying to me, is that, okay, TJ Brody's back in your lineup. You know what that does in my mind? It allows Sheldon Keefe the opportunity to run him out there with Morgan Rielly for 25 minutes tonight. And there's something that's like making me have shivers inside just thinking about those two playing that amount of minutes, because it's just like, well, he's back. So Sheldon Keefe has the ability. That's really the only thing that's kind of scaring me ahead of this matchup tonight, where it's like, I don't like him being in here just because of what Keefe can do.
Well, that's why you have smelling salts. That's why you probably have a stocked fridge for this hockey game. That's probably the best explanation I can give you on that front. But yeah, you're so right. I mean, Calle Jarnkrok came back. The guy didn't even have his elbow pad on, and Sheldon Keefe's got him on the first power play unit. He's on an OT. I don't know. Just every coach has their favorites. I think at this point in time, you are going to ride and die with TJ Brody in the lineup. My only hope is that like Brody has this like come to Jesus moment like Morgan Rielly last year, who was downright shit in the regular season and found his groove, and his touch in the postseason was incredible. I think he's been so in this series, but that's the hope, is that Brody, A, you can mask him a bit better on home ice, but B, he plays with a bit of confidence. But maybe knowing the fact that a contract, whether it's with the Leafs or somebody else, is the motivating factor for Brody. But that's going to be the big thing too, Vic, is like, I think you look at sort of the lineup matchups and the top six of Boston. Like, Marchand had a good game. David Pastrnak, in my opinion, has been quiet by his standards. I wonder if just the subtle changes could ignite somebody one way or another here.
Yeah, and I think the most disappointing part is Liljegren gets replaced again. And we don't want to forget, like, he got replaced last year by Justin Hall. He got replaced 2 years ago by Justin Hall. He just can't stay in the lineup. He doesn't have Keefe's trust. I think a little bit of it is the penalty killing issues as well. Get Brody in there instead of Liljegren. I think Boston's clicking at 50% right now on the PK.
You're right.
But it sucks that we had all the eggs in the Liljegren basket, and look at that. Once again, he's out of the lineup. And I did hear Sheldon Keefe say that Liljegren's banged up. But that's because
we're all banged up. I'm banged up. I'm banged up on Thursday at Greta Bar.
They lean on Timothy Liljegren. Boston leans on Liljegren. They always, every time he has the puck, they hit him as hard as he can, which sucks. Yep. Sucks, because if you look at the top six now, if you look at the blue liners that are dressed tonight, which one of them do you trust to carry the puck out of the zone? Morgan Rielly, that's it. Timothy Liljegren was relied upon to do that, and we didn't see it. And now, again, for the third playoffs in a row.
Yeah.
There he goes.
Vic, that's a great point, because every year we talk about Liljegren being a pretty decent regular season guy, but is he built for the Stanley Cup playoffs? And again, how many, like, it's Groundhog Day every year. I guarantee if they get eliminated at some point, they're going to come out and say, this core four can get the job done. It's like, well, you've been fucking saying that for 5 years and it ain't happening, but damn it, we're going to do it again. We're going to give these guys the money anyways.
Run it back.
I'm in one tonight, boys. We just need this one badly. Thank you to everybody in the chat. You guys are great. At the Leafs Nation 401. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. And check out Morning Cup of Hockey. Both hosts are in this chat right now. Colby Cohen, of course, former National Hockey Leaguer. And Johnny Lazarus, I think, used to put water in the water bottle of Cale Makar back in NCAA hockey. So that's great to see, too. He's in the chat as well. It's the water boy for the team, no?
Those are my guys. My guys.
I know they're your guys.
My guys. Thank you for showing the love, my boys. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Guys.
Yeah, folks in the chat, how you feeling about this one? Obviously, a bit of nerves. Maybe you have a couple drinks to let things cool down a bit. Maybe a hot shower before the game. Still have 20 minutes until puck drop. Something none of us really know about, but like the baby boost, I think, is legitimate. Zach, both of you guys are big time, bettors. This is something I actually play quite a bit. His third kid. He's probably sleep deprived. There's no doubt about that. I'm forecasting a big game for Ilya Lyubushkin tonight, Zach.
Yeah, you want to know how much of a sicko I am ahead of this one? I give out these big plus money bets. Yeah. Ilya Lyubushkin anytime goal scorer, it's on my card. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's probably gonna lose, but it's on my card. I'm not missing an opportunity. Every time NFL scrolling through, see the guy was out this week. His wife had a kid. Touchdown score this weekend. He's getting an interception. Like, it's those things. Sometimes, as much as you want to break it down to the numbers, I love doing that. Sometimes there's just a little bit to the narrative. Lyubushkin anytime goal scorer, it's on my card. I feel gross about it, but it's on there, and it's a big payout. So Nick, I mean, this one hits. You, Vic, myself might have to find our way over to Greta Bar after.
Yeah, I like that. I think we should clip that, and you can bring it to your meeting on Monday nights. It's called Gamblers Anonymous. Just don't wear the Bleed Blue t-shirt, okay? Yeah, wear that. Hey, I'm Zach. I bleed blue, and I put anytime money on Ilya Lyubushkin to score goal plus 8 million. So, no, I don't know. Anything's possible, man. I don't care who scores, man. Nick Robertson, Pontus Holmberg.
Put it in the net, man.
Just somebody score. Like, and we could talk about that minutia and the decision-making process, and maybe I'm making too much of Connor Dewar out of all players coming out. But I just don't like messing with chemistry, Vic, on that fourth line. And I understand why Robertson's staying in. You're goal deprived. Again, Groundhog Day. We have this conversation every postseason. This team is great in the regular season. They can score in the regular season. The power play is great in the regular season. Gets the playoffs, and it's like automatic 2 goals a game. Who's it going to be? But, Vic, am I making too much of the conversation about the fourth line?
Absolutely not. You're not making too much of this. They just pulled another penalty killer out of the lineup because the big four, or the big three, so far, I guess Willie doesn't count yet, but the core pieces aren't scoring any goals, and they just took another penalty killer out of the lineup because they need scoring from their fourth line now. And it's like that line was, and the worst part is that fourth line was firing. They were buzzing. They were the best line. I think Dewar and Reeves have played together more than any other partnership. That's the one line he didn't change. The one line since the deadline that's been constant. It's Reeves, Dewar, Kampf, and he's changed everything else. He puts everything in a blender, and that was the one line that had any chemistry, and it was showing, and he changed it because he needs Robertson to score on the fourth line because Mitch Marner, John Tavares, and Austin Matthews, to a lesser extent, aren't getting the job done. And
Zach, I need you to do a smelling spell. It's just in honor of the trade that's the inevitable trade that's going to happen in June. Nick Robertson for a 5th-round pick. Can you just do a quick sniff for me here? It's happening.
Get him out, buddy. Get him out.
Stirring the pot.
Get him out, buddy.
Though, like, again, how many times are we going to go to the well with things that just don't work, right?
I know.
I was like, oh, Nick Robertson's back in. Oh, he's in the AHL. Oh, he's back in. It's like, thank you, Zach.
There we go. Yeah. No, I don't get it. I mean, Nick, we talked about it. The Nick Robertson thing, Vic, we talked about it a little bit the other day as well. It's like, okay, yeah, you need goal scoring, but like, what else does he do? When I watch him out there, he's ineffective in most other areas of the ice, soft on pucks, losing battles, getting pushed off the puck. Like, it's not like he's some defensive stalwart back there who's incredible and just shutting things down. And if you're just saying, okay, yeah, we need this guy to score, it's like, well, he does that when he's taken out of the lineup and then thrown back in, but it's not like something that just continuously rolls over. So I don't get it from that perspective. And like, if he doesn't score tonight, what the fuck was this decision? Because Connor Dewar, yeah, you're not relying on him to score. I get that. But like, he can, like, let me just clarify. I'm saying that like loosely, like he's capable of scoring. The fourth line's capable of scoring. They're not a scoring line. And then now flip over. Okay, like Vic said, kills penalties, pretty decent defensively. They were good at creating and maintaining pressure in the offensive zone, getting down and generating some type of psycho game. And it's like, now you're going to throw a guy onto that fourth line who's ineffective defensively, losing battles. And like, if he doesn't score tonight, what is he doing here? Like, what is he going to do in his 8 minutes of ice time tonight if he doesn't put a goal on the board? That's what I don't get about it, right? Like, what impact is he making on this game?
Well, it's not for his defense. It's not for his physical nature, right?
Right.
PK. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's what I don't get. That's what I just don't understand with it. Keith, man, I don't know. Like, This guy just makes decisions that sometimes I sit there and I'm like, really? Why are we? Some of it is just big braining yourself. You just look at Robertson, like, can score. Okay, leave him because we need goals. It's like, there's other parts to the game here, Sheldon. Like, let's just think this through a little bit more. Why don't we?
Never seen a big brain operation in this market in, say, the last 10 years. No, that's a complete lie. Johnny Laz writes in the chat, if the Leafs play the Rangers will beat the Leafs in 3. That's false. I can tell you right now, if these two teams got together in a playoff series, the Leafs own the New York Rangers. I'm sorry to say it. You watch their matchups the last couple of years, they're way better. They just, like Toronto struggles with Boston. They struggle with Florida. They're really good against the Rangers. For some reason, they always get up for those games, and the Rangers just have a tough time. I think it's a tough matchup for the Rangers, and you're cursed with the President's Trophy, Johnny. So we'll leave that. Congrats on your first round series against a team that should be more in the Macklin Celebrini sweepstakes and in the Stanley Cup playoffs. I love Johnny, by the way. We're actually boys, okay? We've hung out extensively together. He's an absolute beauty, but I love chirping him. It's a lot of fun. We're getting closer and closer to puck drop here, folks. I am hearing conversation. This could be an 8:20 puck drop, which is dog shit because I got places to be after this game, so I'm hoping there's not 4 OTs. But that's what a couple people are messaging me that are at the building right now. So we're going to probably go a bit longer here.
But I do imagine, Nick, sorry to cut you off. I do imagine it's to pay some respect to Bob Cole. That's what I would imagine that they're probably going to have a pregame ceremony for the great Bob Cole. So I was told TNT game. So okay. Well, I guarantee they'll have a ceremony for Bob Cole, actually.
That's baby. You guys, speaking of Bob Cole, did you see what an absolute legend, but did you see what Max Domi wore to the arena tonight?
I did not.
He wore the legendary Hockey Night in Canada blazer. That's paying homage to Bob Cole. And to me, that reads like the Leafs are winning this game. So guaranteed.
Yeah. That reads Max Domi anytime goal scorer. I think that's what that's telling me, boys.
Zach,
would you want to read into the narrative?
That Domi has been better in 3 playoff games than some guys have been in the last 8 years in the playoffs. Is that a fair assessment?
Some guys.
Some guys.
Yeah, I would. Yes. But I think like part of it is it's something I fought about all season. You look at Domi and Bertuzzi and people are like, like 82, like in the 82 game season, they're not bringing it. Maybe what people would think. I'm like, let's just wait till the playoffs. Like, I would push back. It's like, let's just see what happens when we get there, because that's when that's what their game is for. Like, that's why Tree Living signed these guys. He didn't sign them for 82. I think it was the GM in Washington after they won the cup that year. He was speaking about it after, and he said, you got to build 2 different teams in one with your team. And it's kind of some of the unfortunate reality just based on the way that the NHL playoffs are, where it's like almost 2 different games, which we love, but it's just kind of how you have to deal with it, especially with salary cap. It's like, you got to build a team that can win in the regular season, but you also have to build a team that's kind of separately built for the playoffs. That's what some of these guys are here for. That's what Jake McCabe and Joel Edmondson and Domi, Bertuzzi, throw in a guy like McMahon, where with the size, the physicality, how they play and can generate some stuff like that. Those guys are kind of going to be more geared towards the playoffs, where through 82 of the regular season, you're probably not going to be blown away. Max Domi has brought it here. Like, this guy is a shit disturber. He's in every single scrum. He'll punch you in the face. It's something that maybe we're going to look at it a little bit more as fans, but like, how fired up are you watching this guy every time he's on the ice, yapping at people and slashing Marchand's thumbs? Like, he gives us energy. You see the guys on the ice feeding off of it. You see Matthews feeding off it a little bit. That's more than I could ever say about some guys, Nick, that you've heard in other years.
I love we're walking. We got to make a T-shirt that just says "some guys." ... Because again, we can't reference the core 4 anymore. They want to be known as like just 23 players on a roster. But certainly that's the big story here. Is the big boys, are they going to step up? Like, this is why they make that money. It's time to go out there and prove it. And are we going to see the $6.9 million a year Willie Nylander, or 11.5 sheets, or is he going to wait till next off season for this? But that's the big thing for me, is like Willie Nylander. I think obviously he has the potential to be the difference maker in this series. Like, I'm jacked for this. We've been waiting for 3 games for Nylander to come back. He normally plays Boston really, really well, which is great to see. I think he can mix it up a bit physically. I think like his brand is okay with what's going on in this series thus far. And I just think it lengthens the lines again. That's, another thing I would look at. And it gives you just another hired gun, right? You need to score goals. You can't score goals. And the power plays where I'm looking to, like how many, discipline or not, officiating or not, the power play has to get going, or I think it could be an early exit for the Maple Leafs. Jeremy Swayman's a guy I want to touch on too as well, Zach. 2-0 in this series, 1.51, 955. You've played the best level of hockey in this chat. What do they need to do? What do they need to do to cause more chaos? Is it something they're not doing with Swayman, or is he just locked in right now?
I think a degree of it is just he's that locked in. But the other part, I heard you guys talk about it on the morning show. It's like it pisses me off here now. Is there another team in the NHL who gets goalied as much as the Leafs? Like, why is it every fucking year in the playoffs and against Arizona's and these other Columbus and these other shitty teams, and we're like, oh man, we got goalied here tonight? It's like, just fucking score, man. You're the best players in the NHL. I think some of it, especially here with Swayman and especially with this Boston team, is not everything's going to be the most pretty goals in the world. Not everything's showing up on your highlight reels tomorrow morning to talk about how beautiful it was. Sometimes it's just going to be sending people to the net and just getting a little bit gritty, getting your nose dirty, and just crashing. Like, it's the stupidest thing for me to say, and people are going to be like, yeah, no shit. But it's like, that's kind of what it's boiling down to for me. That's why I'm also loving the first line. Think about the goal that Domi scores the other day. It's Bertuzzi in the slot, bangs away at the puck. Matthews grabs it as it slips out, hits it off the bar. Max Domi scores a rebound. Those are playoff goals, man. Like, that's just, you've got guys swinging away at pucks popping out, rebounds popping out. I just want to see a little bit more of that. I think that's why some guys on the second line may be struggling to score a little bit here, is because they don't play that style of hockey. And like, I mean, I don't know. It's like, it's so simple, and I wish I could give you a better answer, but get dirty here, man. Get gritty. And I think that's going to give you the best opportunity that you have. Just go to the front of the net.
Yeah, my lasting takeaway with this team for the most part, and I thought they were the better team in Game 3, but understandably so. There's no consolation prizes. I mean, the margin for error is razor thin, and some of the mistakes they're making, and then Samsonov to let that goal to Trent Frederick, like, that burns you. I think conversely, you look at the goaltending too. Jeremy Swayman, Linus Ullmark too have been better than Ilya Samsonov, and again, that's why margin for error razor thin. It's a 2-1 series for that reason. But I think it comes down to execution. It's like, who can make that big play? Like, they got the big goal from Austin Matthews in Game 2. Marchand stepped up in Game 3. Who's it going to be for the Maple Leafs? Who wants to seize the opportunity, the moment? Like, it's cliche. We always talk about it. You win in this market, you'll be a legend for life. It's one of those things that's actually true. I mean, I don't care who you are. If you're Lyubushkin, if you're Edmondson. It's kind of funny. I mean, some of the guys, I'm not throwing shade at some of the legends with this team, but they didn't win cups, and they're looked at as like heroes and legends, right? So it's pretty fair to say that. So it speaks volumes to the importance of, the moment and what these guys can do. Brad Marchand's another polarizing figure in this series. Say what you want about him. I know this has been an evolving story. I don't know why the media is covering it this way. I think it's becoming a bigger story than it needs to be. Yeah, he was good in Game 3, but I think the Leafs have actually done a pretty good job on Brad Marchand. But the narrative is that, he's in Toronto's dome. Producer Vic, do you feel that way?
Not at all. And I think this is the first time ever that he's actually not in their heads. He did have an amazing Game 3, but yeah. I've kind of loved how Bertuzzi's been playing with him. Kind of the mind games. He's kind of giving it right back to him. And usually, I mean, we remember the licking incident with Leo Komarov. Leo Komarov was the Leafs rat, quote unquote. Yep. And he did absolutely nothing. He got licked in the face, did absolutely nothing. And Bertuzzi's going right after him. Bertuzzi's been on him the whole way. And I love Domi. And that's one thing I do love about Domi as well. Zach, you were talking about him earlier. He's got that controlled chaos where he's doing things, but he's not hurting the team at the same time, where I feel like Bertuzzi a little bit lost it and got stuck playing those mind games with Marchand. I mean, Samsonov's the reason for the goal, but it kind of led to a goal against, right? So you got to be able to control that a little bit better. And I think the Leafs are fine because, through 3 games, he's been kind of unnoticeable, but I mean, he did have the big third.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, the just the controlled chaos of Bertuzzi, I think, is something to I want to, or of Domi, excuse me, something I want to see Bert do here tonight against Domi, like, or against, man, throwing all these guys' names together. My brain is in a blender right now. Sorry, boys.
All good.
I want to see him adopt what Domi has done here against Marchand, because I agree with you. I don't think Marchand's in their heads. This is, as Vic said, like one of the first times I kind of feel like it's been ineffective what he's done when it's come to that. And it's like, I don't feel like we're getting pissed off. I don't feel like we're getting taken away. I feel like if anything, Bert and Marchand at this point have kind of just neutralized each other, of just both being like morons. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the meme of the two guys who are standing on the street where they start flipping each other off back and forth and no one's really doing anything and they're just screaming like, no F you. That's these two right now in this series. And it's kind of nice to see, because it just kind of cools everything down from the perspective of like, okay, we don't really have to worry about Marchand. But at the same time, I want to see Bert not get taken out of the game to an extent where it's like, okay, now we're parading to the penalty box and we're doing these slashes at the end of the game that are putting us on a penalty kill where we're having to kill this off in game 2 in Boston. Like, let's clean some of that stuff up. Otherwise, I don't feel like Marchand has really, you can't make these guys completely out of the series. Like, that's not going to happen. So just minimize the damage that they can do. And I feel like they've done a pretty good job with Marchand there.
I think at this point too, like, I think the Leafs should get away from, hey, we're trying to flex our muscles because we want to prove to everybody that we're tough. I think they did that in game 1, but I also think they've been a bit victim of that, where they're sort of chasing that all game, where it's like, hey, we're going to deliver that extra hit. We're going to put you through the glass. I think we're at the marathon sprint part of the series where it's like, now it gets even more important, the little plays you make. And I just think you're probably going to see less and less scrums. I think the end game is in focus here. And I think from the Maple Leafs perspective, yeah, you want to play with that edge, but I don't think you want to chase that. I think they've proven in the first 3 games of this series that they're the heavy team. They can will Boston around a bit. I think they've had their licks in this series. I think they've worn the Bruins down. They've made Boston make changes. Don't forget, back to the trade deadline, they went out and got Patrick Maroon. They took Grzelcyk out of the lineup earlier in the series. So, like, point proven. Now it's like all that skill you talk about for the last 8 years, and you want those power plays and discipline. Well, you got to start executing. It comes down to X's and O's, in my opinion, this time here. And I think adjustments game by game, coaching wise. Like, I don't want to leave another series being, oh, Sheldon Keefe was out coached, and it remains to be seen. I can't make a final analysis through 3 games in this series. We'll see how it works out. Obviously, bringing Nylander back in, taking Dewar out. If Robertson scores, then yeah, it's a win for Sheldon Keefe. And if his team wins, I mean, it's a win. It really, really is. Let's get to some bets. I did get confirmation, by the way. I think it's going to be 8:20, 8:22 puck drop. I think the 2 teams are about to hit the ice in about 5 minutes. I believe there's going to be a bit of a ceremony for Bob Cole. Then they'll go through the anthems. It's going to take us to 20 after. I think I see on the TV right now. They're going out there right now. So still about 10 and 15 minutes before puck drop, 8:20, 8:22. But it's time for the last call, brought to you by Bet365. Download the app or visit bet365.ca for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Zach, you go first. What are you looking at tonight?
This is right back to the narratives here, boys. I'm going William Nylander, anytime goal scorer. I feel like this guy has been my favorite playoff player over the last however many years, probably like 3-4 here now, at least dating back to the Montreal series, where I look at him like, he's consistent, he's unbothered, he's strong. He's not like physical where he's going to go out there and blow guys up, but he's strong. So he's not just getting pushed off like some guys. But he's able to go into those battles and be engaged in stuff. You see him now also add these little tools to his bag that's been kind of fun, where it's like every now and then he just mixes in a little bit of a power forward move where he's driving down outside, and before you'd see him hit brakes and try to take a shot from the outside. Not anymore. He's able to play with a little bit more of the playoff edge or the playoff style play, take advantage of that. He's going to jump back in here tonight. He's pissed off. He wants to get going. He wants to make an impact on this series. Nylander, anytime goal. I think it's a good number, first of all. So I'm not going to bet it at a bad number. I think it's a good number. But I also just think that throw those narratives in there. This is where Willie shines, man. I feel good about this one. Everyone's talking about this guy taking time off, Sheldon Keefe scratching him. this guy does not care about the noise around it right now. William Nylander, anytime goal scorer. That's my bet for tonight.
No, I like it. As somebody familiar with the situation told me, Nylander is the type of guy, he does this frequently. He walks his dog without a shirt on. Okay. So there's nothing anybody can say. This guy knows he's an absolute stud. He's going to show up. I actually like that bet quite a bit. Every first game of the Stanley Cup playoffs, Nylander shot prop and Nylander to score. I'm going right back to that well. I just, in fact, went to my Bet365 app and did it. I did the damn deal. You talked me into it. Nylander anytime goal tonight. I would look at the shot prop. The money's juiced. I think at the 2.5 number, 3.5. I would even go at that at plus money. Another shot prop I like, Brad Marchand. We just talked about him. This guy's a big game player. You saw that, in game 3 at plus money. I would take a shot at that. Producer Vic, anything you like?
Yeah, I just want to piggyback off of Zach's. I like the Kyle Yarncroc anytime, over 0.5 points at plus money. He's playing with William Nylander, and we all know how much Sheldon Keefe loves him. He's just on the ice all game. It's incredible. I think he's got a lot of defensive zone starts to start the series, but playing with Willie, that'll probably flip a little bit. I see him playing 15, 16 minutes tonight, so Kyle Yarncroc anytime point.
The Nylander rub. So nobody on this pregame show is going to take a TJ Brody anytime goal, unfortunately.
Did he have a baby?
I told you.
Did he have a baby? He didn't have a baby, did he? He didn't have a baby? No.
To the best of my knowledge, no, he did not have a baby.
Then absolutely not. No, to stay in the hell away from that.
So we're jacked up for this one. Once again, make sure to tune into the Leafs Nation After Dark directly following this game. And Jay Rosehill, the one and only from Leafs Morning Take, is going to drop by with his thoughts. Zach's going to have some thoughts. Maybe he'll take some breaths this Saturday because last time he came on, what was it, after game, one of the series?
One, yeah.
You were some kind of fired up, but dude, I was right there with you. Unfortunately, I was not doing a podcast or a show, so I could just sit there in the dark in my Toronto condo by myself.
Yeah, that one. Hopefully, it's not the same. Let's go. Maybe I don't breathe tonight, but it's out of excitement, and we're fired up about a big win. Dominant win, 60 minutes. You start on time. Let's start on time here tonight from the opening puck drop. I don't want to see these defense deficiencies. I don't want to see the Ilya Samsonov reminiscing about Freddie Anderson's time here in the playoffs with goals off of his butt into the back of the net from behind the goal line. I don't need to see that here tonight. Let's have a nice tidy game all the way around and a nice post game where we get to talk about going to Boston for game 5. With people with those Leafs tickets, by the way, producer Vic driving you there, and 2-2 series.
Let me just say, yeah. Any final words, producer Vic?
Let's go. Leafs get more than 3 for the first time in 10 friggin' playoff games. Let's go 4-2 Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's go.
Oh,
that's my last
prediction. Zach, what do you got?
4-2.
I'm gonna go 5-1. 5-1. Willie shows up. Austin shows up. I think the power play gets clicking here tonight. Ilya Lyubushkin gets on the board. We're all happy. And Ilya Samsonov, I don't think he gets out of here with a shutout, but clean game, 5-1.
Maple Leafs puck line. If that happens, Zach, we will go to Greta Bar YYZ. There was a massive line last night, by the way. We're going to bypass that line because we could pull a couple strings, and we're going to get you a shot of whatever you want, buddy. We're going to enjoy the hell out of that, okay? So let's hope that happens. Yeah. Positivity, the Leafs Nation After Dark. Yes, buy your Bleed Blue merch, nationgear.ca. You can buy the varsity collection. Producer Vic is donning the varsity collection. Folks, we're fired up about this one. The Leafs Nation After Dark coming up after it. Enjoy the game, and Zach and company will talk to you later on. Take care. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.